The great Western civilizations were really put together by the framework of John Locke. John Locke came up with an idea that a framework in a society is only going to work if we all share the same values. Christian, white, male, sitting there in the shires. It's not really what we find in modern times. And as we break apart societies and we put a great big mix of people together, it's not really working out so well for us. It's almost like we should control this mixing of the pot.
A lot of focus is put on the violence between black and white in South Africa. We think that violence is completely overblown and completely bullshit for the most part. However, Byron, the black on black violence between native South African blacks and foreign blacks, that is a real problem no one wants to talk about, because fundamentally it's the violence between EFF voters and ANC voters.
Yes, Ramon, but that would be deeply anti-Pan-African of you. I mean, I heard one time from Julius Malima's camp that all Africans are the same and they all believe the same thing. So they would all subscribe to John Locke's idea of a uniform culture.
Yeah, I think Hendrik Verwoerd believed the same thing as well, to be honest, and the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, essentially that's why racism exists, because you're black, you're all the same, you all think the same, so therefore we can oppress you in a material way. So Julius Malema, Hendrik Verwoerd, Ku Klux Klan, 3 peas in a pod right there. But really, the police have come out and said the crime stats in the townships around Gauteng show that foreign nationals are responsible for a large amount of crime in townships. The police can't stop it, they have no resources, and he says there's going to be some ethnic cleansing here if we don't get illegal immigration under control.
Well, I don't think we should disbelieve the police, because they are on the ground floor and they are seeing the crime on a day-to-day basis. But according to the politicians, that can't be the case, Ramon, because foreign nationals, they're all the same as us, aren't they? I mean, they believe the same thing. We hear quite often, and we were discussing this prior to recording, and that is, for me, in my lived experience, I noticed that a serious amount of the give us back the land chants and the racism to white people and, yeah, let's kill that certain ethnic group, that let's not name them, that all seems to originate from foreign nationals that seem to be living in South Africa because their land was given back, but it isn't the Wakanda that they were promised. And they would like us to experience that Wakandadom that they inherited.
It's almost like those people that voted for yes in the referendum in 1992 in South Africa and then immigrated to Australia in 1993. It's just like the same treasonous lot of people that we both hate immensely. But also, the crime stats of foreign nationals are obviously bullshit because, as the police say, they have no idea how to catch someone who doesn't have an ID book, who doesn't have a fixed address, who's not a resident, who's not a citizen, who just doesn't really exist in the state. So, of course, the stats are wrong. And of course, if you're an undocumented illegal immigrant and you commit crime and you don't get caught, what is the likelihood of you doing the crime again and again? Well, my friends, it's as high as Mount Everest. If you don't get caught doing something, you're going to do it again. Basic psychology.
You know, Ramon, it's almost like what we should do is develop a nation state, have a unifying idea that's deeply nationalistic, look after our own countries, adopt our own culture and ideas, and then almost use that to repel any foreign ideas that come into the country, almost like a virus, and it's almost the antibody to the virus. That may be a way to stop all of this bullshit from happening in the first place.
The antidote to a foreign invasion is to have a state in the first place. That's why we praised the DA earlier this week, because they are doing law and order in the Western Cape by fighting the taxis. Do we like the DA? Not overtly. Are they doing something good in this instance? Absolutely. Unfortunately, under the ANC, this country of South Africa has become a free-for-all. Anyone can just come in here, everyone can rape and kill and pillage and shoot cops as zamazamas, and they can do whatever the hell they want. This is like the Afghanistan of Africa, because the ANC is, well, too dumb to rule, to be honest. How about we just have a bit of nationalism? How about a little bit of law and order? How about a sense that we are a country with people in it who want it to be better? And the first thing you do is you make borders. Because if without any borders, there is no country whatsoever.
Yeah, Ramon, but then you see, what would we use to house our chickens? Because let's face it, that chicken wire border that's been placed there by Patricia DeLille, that chicken wire mesh has all been stolen for the locals' chicken kraals. So how would you have chicken kraals if you didn't put up a border fence, my friend?
But just think of all the issues we're having in South Africa due to a non-existent border. The amount of drug smuggling, with Nyape getting into every single township and suburb in this country, the amount of physical sex trafficking coming into this country, the amount of heroin from Mozambique coming into this country, the amount of tax evasion, the amount of crime perpetuated by not having a border is absolutely immense. Any government worth their salt would have a certain distinction of what it is to be South African, and that starts with a freaking wall. Inside the wall is South Africa, outside the wall is not a concern, but you're not allowed in. Simple.
But at the end of the day, Ramon, you got to look at this and just ask yourself a fundamental question. I mean, and that is, if all these guys continue to come to South Africa, take the resources, I mean, we've seen the thing with the Zamazamas, right? This will just take the golden biz off, don't pay any taxes, openly flaunt things against the police and go, we're stronger than you are. And at this point in time, they are. Then you got to ask yourself the question, and that is, what is the nation state of South Africa? Because the nation state is meant to, let us not forget, provide an environment whereby the citizens of the state can live there prosperously and businesses can thrive and, survive and be entrepreneurial. But we've heard it many times being said that Zimbabwe is more business friendly than South Africa. And let's not forget, Zimbabwe just stopped load shedding. Yep, we still got load shedding. Zimbabwe doesn't. I mean, the jokes write themselves, ladies and gentlemen. They write themselves.
So as a Zimbabwean, I mean, go back to Zimbabwe. It's a much better country. No load shedding, more business friendly. What's the issue? Why are you here? Just go back. Come on. Like, leave us in peace. Let us sort out our own shit. You sort out your own shit in Zimbabwe. And there we go. A peaceful separation.
It's almost, Ramon, like you're calling for the building of a wall.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built.